Hey, it's Dana back again at the Candleworks and Dancing Bee Equipment. I'm back to unmold or unveil our molds that we made yesterday. They've been sitting for about 20 hours. They're nice and solid. So we're just going to go through and unwrap each one, and hopefully they all turned out. So it's nice to use the disposable milk crates and stuff because we can take it out just like that and we just unwrap it. The disadvantage of these is obviously you can't use it again, but that's okay. So we're going to unwrap it. Just take it out. Now you can see where I put the plasticine, so that'll just come out there. But it's good because it filled in the hole, and we can reuse that plasticine there. Just take that out and set that aside. And then keep unwrapping this. This is always the fun part, you unveil what you made. Okay. Alright, so this is going to go in the garbage. So you can see the bottom, we've got a little bit of overlapping in the bottom, but that's okay. That's where my wood is there. So what we're going to do is you just take, this is where a really good sharp knife comes in handy. So we're just going to cut around the edges just like that, and we can remove that extra silicone there and clean it up. Take it out, go around the edge here, and start here. Just be careful you don't cut yourself. And then this one as well. Right along the edge. So remember, this is going to be where you pour your wax or resin or whatever material that you need. And then it'll be the bottom of your candle or resin piece. Okay. So alright, so that's good. So then what I'm going to do, I'm just sort of pulling it away from the side slightly, just to make it a little easier to pull it out. Okay. And because this is a different kind of shape, what we want to do is make a slice so that we can pull things apart easier. So what I might do is do a slice down the corner, because you don't want to see the seam too much. So I'm going to slice a little bit down the corner. You want to be careful and just go down part way to start. And we're going to keep going in. There we go. And then what I can do is remove, put that down so I don't cut myself, remove the bottom. Okay, so that comes out, and then you can see the bottom of the glass base that we used there. So this is perfect because then we can see where we need to go to remove it, and then this is the top where we're going to pour our wax or our resin. Okay, so I started, there it goes. So I started the seam down here, so I'm going to continue the seam just all the way down, just like that. Oh, nicely done. So I should only have to do one slice down this one. It'll come out fairly easy. Now silicone is really nice to use for molds because it's what we call self-healing. When you can put them together, you see very little of the seam. So it's going to look really nice. So we want a nice straight cut down. And we're going to just go down, make sure about halfway for now. And then I'm going to pull it from the sides. And I should be able to take it out by myself, but if not, I might get a partner to help me. All right. Well, we're going to get a partner. We're going to put on pause for 1 second so I get somebody just to give me a hand pulling it out. So Kate, if you can hold that open, and then I'm just going to pull this out. Maybe. Oop. So if it's a little difficult, we may have to slice it a little further down, which I think I'll do, which is not a problem. So we're going to slice this a little further down the corner. There we go. All right, so if you can pull it right from the bottom. And I think, there we go. Part of it is just because the plasticine's in the bottom, so the plasticine came out. Thank you, Kate. So we're just going to take the plasticine out of the bottom, so I'll probably slice a little further down. It's not going to hurt it to do that. I'll show you when we add the candle to it there we go. So this plasticine in the bottom we have to clean out. There we go. So I've got the plasticine out just like that, and we'll give it a good rinse. Alright, so there's our first mold. You can kind of see the shape inside a little bit. We'll give it a bit of a rinse, and we're going to pour our candle in there shortly. So let's undo our other candles. Now the nice thing about the acrylic is that we can reuse this for different size molds, and it's easy with the glue just to take it apart, and then we can peel the hot glue off, clean it up, and we can use it again. So those are really nice to use that way. It takes a little bit more time sometimes to set it up. Once you get going, you're good. And then this will also peel off. So all of that will peel off as well. So we got this, comes off. And there we go. And then we can take the plasticine off that we used as well and reuse the plasticine. I'm just going to set that, oops, right there. Plasticine. Okay. And peel that off. So there's the bottom of that. So this one might be a little bit trickier because of the different shape of the elephant. It is kind of thicker in some spots than others. So we'll start with the bottom, and then we'll go from there what we can do. So we've pulled our elephant out. It's a really odd shape. So we had to make 2 slices, and also because of the odd shape, the silicone's pretty thick. If we were able to make a box that was more custom to the shape of the elephant, where it's not quite as thick over here and thin over here, it'll be a little easier. But we got it. So we've pulled it out, sliced it. I'm going to clean it up a little bit, clean up the slices, so that when we pour the wax, it'll be hopefully a little easier to pull out with the wax. This one I would definitely recommend when you pour the wax to put mold release in it, and we're going to do that shortly. We'll show you how to get all that done. Alright, so we're ready for the next step. We're going to pour some wax into our molds and see how they look as candles. So I've got my rubber bands, I've got different size wicking, and my wicking needle, which helps me make my hole, scissors, wick cutters. One thing I did forget, which is over here, is my wick holders. So I like to use bamboo sticks. You can use bobby pins, you can use wire, different kinds of wick holders. I just like to use, these are actually chopsticks that I use for some of my stuff. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to choose your wick sizing based on the width and diameter of your candle. So I have an idea of which one I'm going to use to see, and then what I'm going to do is do a test burn for my candles and see how that wick goes. So then when I keep making my candles, I know which wick that I want to use. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to start, and I'm going to start with a number 2. So that's a pretty common wick size, and it means that it might burn just enough. You want it to be able to burn without pooling. You want to have a good flame. You don't want it to burn too fast. So we can go through that in another video of when we test our candles. So you want not too much, but you want enough room that you're going to have some come out the bottom and out the top. So I'm going to cut that. Okay. And then our wicking needle makes it really nice and easy to thread your candle. You're just going to put it through just like that. Now there's no hole in here just yet. Watch me take my glasses off so I can see in the bottom. So I want to get this as centered as possible. So the easiest way for me to do that is kind of through the bottom, but then I can see the top where my candle is and the just how it's going to sit. So I'm going to go as much in the center as I can. Check the bottom. Oops, that doesn't look at the center. With the lid. There we go. Down the center. Okay, so I'm going to pull it out the bottom. Just like that. Be careful. So remember, this is going to be the top of your candle. This is the bottom of your candle, or your whatever. If you're using resin, this is the top of your subject, and this is the bottom. Okay, so we want to make sure it's nice and centered, and you pull the wick through. Then what you're going to do, this one, I have the seam all the way down. So we want to put some rubber bands starting at the bottom, fairly tight, but not too tight where you're going to deform the mold. This mold's pretty sturdy, so it's not too bad to deform it. So I'm just going to do that all the way up so that my wax does not leak out. Okay? And like I said, it doesn't have to be super tight. It's just enough to keep that seam closed. Here's the seam. Double it and spread it out. Right. And top. Again, this silicone's really nice. It's pretty sturdy and it's thick, so I'm not going to deform it very easily. And then you take your, whatever you're going to use as a wick holder, and you can put it just like that. You center your wick, and that one's ready for wax to be poured. So we're going to do the same for this one. This one is a lot wider. You can tell this one's pretty narrow. This one's a lot wider. So I'm going to start with a number 5 wick for this one. Okay, so I've got my number 5. Measure it out a little bit so I have some extra. Okay. Now the number 5 is a little thicker, so it's a little harder to put through my wicking needle, but we'll get there. There we go. Alright, so it took a bit, but we got it through. And again, we're going to do the same thing. But this one is kind of cool. I cut the wick, but it still has the little mark there. So I've got actually that little mark in the bottom of my candle, or of my mold. So I'm going to just poke it through there and all the way through again, and then take my wick out. So you want to leave at least a couple inches, because again, this is the top of your candle, and then that's the bottom. So you want to leave a couple inches to play with, and then you can trim it after. Okay? And then we're going to do the rubber bands. So this one, we had 2 slices. We're going to go make sure it's sealed on both. Oops. And this one has a little more flexibility to it, so we want to make sure your seams are lined up nicely and there's no deformity when you put your rubber band on. So we got it nicely sealed for that. And then go there. Again, make sure your seams are lined up. The better lined up, then they won't show up in your candle. One more for the top. And a lot of bamboo. Nice and centered, and pull your wick nice and tight. There's our second one. Now this one, I was trying to decide where I wanted to put the wick. So I'm going to use a small one, a number 1. I'm just going to start with the wick here, because this is not going to burn really well because it's a weird shaped candle. I mean, I'm not saying don't burn it, because it's always fun to burn candles. You can always make another one. That's the joy of having your own mold. You make your kind of fun candle, it burns down, whatever you have left over, you make a new candle with it. So I'm going to start just with this, just at the top of his butt. I thought it might be kind of cool to have it in his trunk too, but it's so thin there, but we'll see. We're going to start with just the top of his butt. And I'm using a smaller one, a 1-0, because I don't want it to burn too fast, but you know, I want to have a nice flame if it gets lit. All right, measure it, put it in there, Okay, and then I'm going to go to his butt, which is right here, and I'm just going to pick a spot kind of in the center that I think works for the wick. Pull it out. Okay, and then this one, you can put it at kind of an angle, and then it'll help, so it'll come out here, but I've got it sort of down here, so it's going to come out at an angle, which is fine. And I'll take my bamboo chopsticks and make sure there's enough there. Oh, I forgot the rubber band. We'll put a rubber band around it as well. And then again, remember, this has to go all the way down to the bottom. Make sure your seams are nice and even. I'm going to do a few. This one's tighter because it's a bigger thing. A little thicker. There we go. Alright, so that's nicely done. And then we put our wick. There we go. Clean it out. Make sure it's nice and tight. Perfect. Now, I'm going to use my mold release spray, which I gotta find. I'll be right back. Where did I put it? Over here. That makes it a little bit more interesting. Dana's not very well organized. Alright. So I've got my mold release spray here again, especially because this is the first time doing these molds, so I want to give the wax as good a chance to come out as possible. So I'm even going to spray this one just lightly. This one I want to make sure I get it in some of the nooks and crannies because it's a little weird. And then this one I'll do just to make it a little easier. Okay, so that should be good. Just like that. And then I have my wax that's here. It's been ready to go. The ideal pouring temperature for beeswax, remember, is about 155 to 165 degrees Fahrenheit. That helps control air bubbles, especially if your room is cool. So the warehouse isn't too bad today, but sometimes if it's colder, the wax will cool too fast and you get air bubbles and you get cracks. So you want to make sure that your beeswax is at a good temperature to pour, roughly 155 to 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so we're just going to pour. So we'll start there. Pour nice and slow, again to avoid air bubbles and make sure there's no leakage in the mold. And you're going to go to just below the lip there, just like that. Now wax again will contract as it cools, so you'll get that contracting down as it goes. Then we'll do this one. Just below. Just like that, and then the elephant. Perfect. All right. So we're going to leave that for about 20 minutes, and then I'm going to put it outside to help cool it faster so that we can come back faster and see how they look. Hey, all right, so we're back for the moment of truth. We're going to take our candles out of our molds. I put them outside for a few hours to help speed up the process. So we're going to remove the rubber bands and see what we get. Okay, so again, oops, I just got it, there it is. There's the seam that I opened. Pull it open, and you want to be gentle, pulling it out, and it comes out quite nicely. And there we go. So there's the candle. For the first try, now you can see the top looks a little wonky. I think it looks wonky. Maybe it looks all right, but that's where we put the plasticine. So maybe if I did it again, I would cut that off and then I could remold it, do a different mold. So that could be stage one if I wanted. If I didn't like that top, I can cut that off and then make another mold with the beeswax. But other than that, it looks kind of cool. I actually like that one. So there's that one. And then of course we'll trim the bottom, and we'll even out the bottom of the candle and get it going. So there's the one for that one. And then for this one, take it up. And then remember it was two, so we're going to split it open and pull it out. There we go. And there's candle number 2. It's a little warm. We probably could have left it a little bit longer, but it looks really good. So that one's number 2. And again, we'll just do some testing of the wicks to make sure that that's the correct wick size as well. There's the second one. And then the next one, here's the real test, is going to be the elephant. That's going to be interesting. Hopefully she'll turn out. Take that off. So we want to be very gentle when we separate these open so that we don't crack the wax. So I might be able to do it by myself. Oh, there we go. She's coming out. And then gently pull out. There we go. This actually might be a 2-person job. Just one sec. Just ease it out. There we go. Ah, there we go. Oops. And there we go. So that doesn't look too bad at all for the little elephant. And again, I'll trim the bottom. And we'll even that out on our griddle. So there's the elephant for the mold. You can see a lot of the wrinkles and the detail is in there as well. So a lot of these flecks are just from the mold from the first use, and that'll come out the next time you use it. We can give it a wipe out. So if you didn't like it, if there was too much in there, we can always melt it down and do it again. But it's nice to get it going for the first one. So there you go. So we have our candle molds here and our models. So it looks pretty good. So we're going to test some of these wicks to see if that's the right size, and then we'll keep using these molds for more candles. Like I said, this one I might change it up a little bit, but you can do that. If you have any questions, feel free to email us. You can follow us all on our socials, The Candle Works, on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And then you can also follow Dancing Bee Equipment. Email us, call us, join us in our workshops. We always have make and take workshops, lots of fun. And get your own very own silicone mold making kit. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Thanks. Have a great day.